Hello friends, we are going to be going over Wednesday's math review. So go ahead and get your math review ready so you can check over your work from yesterday. So we'll start with the first place value question, which reads, which number below rounds to 130,000 when rounded to the nearest 10,000th place? So I know that I have to round each of these choices to the nearest 10,000 and find the one that rounds to 130,000. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to underline the digit that's in the 10,000th place, and I know I'm going to be looking at the digit in the thousands place, and it's going to tell me whether I should round it up or if the digit should stay there. So 3 is going to make the 2 stay there. That means that this number is going to round to 120,000. This 8 will make the 3 round up. So this number rounds to 140,000. This 1 is going to make the 4 stay there. So it's going to round to 140,000. And this 1 is going to make the 3 stay there. So this one's going to round to 130,000. So choice D is the one that when it's rounded to the nearest 10,000 rounds to 130,000. You got that right, give yourself a little check. If you didn't, go ahead and make a correction now. Let's move on to question 2. Kaylin read 24 pages of a book. Logan read 3 times as many pages as Kaylin. Which equation can be used to find the total number of pages Logan read? Okay, so let's read it again. This time we'll mark it up. Kaylin read 24 pages. Logan read 3 times as many pages as Kaylin. So Logan read more. Whatever Logan is, I'm going to put L. 3 times as many as Kaylin. Kaylin, we know from up here, is 24. So I'm just going to write 24 here. Now, we're finding for an equation that can be used to find the total number of pages. So I'm looking for a choice that matches what I did over here on the side. So I noticed that A doesn't match that. B is addition. It's not matching what we did here. C, 24 times 3. Yeah, that matches what we did up here. And 24 divided by 3. Nope, that does not match. So the best answer is C. Go ahead and check your work. Okay. Let's move on. It says a team of volunteers collected a total of $5,144 selling t-shirts. Each t-shirt was sold for $8. What was the total number of t-shirts the volunteers sold? So we find a total. The team of volunteers collected a total of $5,148. And we know that each t-shirt costs $8. What was the total number of t-shirts that the volunteers sold? So we're giving a total and we're giving the group size. Each group is going to cost $8 and we'd have to find the number of groups that we're going to be, meaning the number of t-shirts that were sold. So we're going to have to do some division work. So I'm going to write that out, divided by 8. How many groups of 8 can I make if I have 51? Well, I know that 8 times 5 gives me 40. 8 times 6 gives me 48. 8 times 7 gives me 56. That's too much. I only have 51, meaning I can only make 6 groups. So I'm going to put the 6 up here. 8 times 6 gives me 48. So 51 minus 48 will give us 3, remainder of 3. Regroup, we get 4. Okay, I know that 8 times 4 gives me 32. And I have 34, so that means I can make 4 groups. I'm going to put that up here. So 8 times 4 gives me 32. 34 minus 32, I'm going to get a remainder of 2. Bring down the 4, so now I have 24. Notice I'm working backwards here. 8 times 3 gives me 24. So that means I can make 3 groups of 8. Record that up here. 8 times 3 gives me 24. Minus 24. I get a remainder of 0, and there's no more numbers to regroup. So we get our final quotient of 643, which is right here. Okay? And if you were to do a check down here, 643 times 8, you would see that you would get 5,144. I just did a check down here. You can go ahead and do the check on your own paper now. Or we're going to move on so that this video is not too long and you don't get bored. So, let's move on to the next question, which is a fraction question. There you go, that's better. Okay. So what is the sum of the two fractions below? Well, I know that they're shaded, so I'm going to find the fraction that they represent. This one has 1, 2, 3 parts, so that's going to be our numerator. 3 out of 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 3 7s, and I'm going to add that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts out of 7. They have the same denominator. So if I was to add this, I would get 8 out of 7. Okay, do you see that here? Did I count this wrong? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I don't see that answer here, but the correct answer is 8 out of 7. Go ahead and check your work. Let's move along. So we have Dina walked her dog for 4/10 of a mile on 5 days this week. How far did Dina walk her dog this week? So we have 4/10, and that's being repeated 5 times. So I'm just going to multiply 4/10 times 5. This is a whole number, so I'm going to give it a denominator of 1 because 5 divided by 1 gives us 5. So we didn't change this fraction at all, this number at all. So we're going to do 4 times 5, which gives us 20, and 10 times 1, which gives us 10. So we get 20 divided by 10, basically a fraction greater than 1. So if we wanted to rename this 20 divided by 10, that would give us 2 whole things, so 2 whole miles as she walked her dog. Now we're up to the measure the angle below question. Just from looking at this angle, I can already see that it is an acute angle. It looks more narrow than a perfect L. So I know that the measure is going to be lower than 90 degrees. So I'm just going to turn my paper over so it's easier for me to measure this with my protractor. I'm going to put my protractor down, and now I'm just going to match up this midpoint over here to the vertex, and make sure that that arm of the angle is straight with that line here on this midpoint of the protractor on that cross. Match it up. Okay, now follow this line. I'm going to look at the bottom measurements because these are all acute measurements. Then I notice that this angle is between 30 and 40. So what number goes right in the middle of it? Because if I follow it, it's right there. So between 30 and 40, we find 35. So I'm just going to record that now, that this angle measures 35 degrees. Okay. Now let's go ahead and move on to our POD. Go ahead and find it. Here's our POD. Today we're going to go ahead and closely read it. We're going to closely read this math problem, and then we're going to begin organizing our facts, and tomorrow we'll solve it. So we have the area of a rectangular doghouse floor is 15 square feet. The length of the floor is 5 feet. What is the perimeter of the floor of the doghouse? So I'm going to read it again, and this time I'll mark it up. So the area of the rectangular doghouse is 15 square feet. I'm going to circle that fact, and I'm going to write it down as my fact. The area is 15 square feet. The length of the floor is 5 feet. Oh, I noticed how it's interesting that here they gave me a standard form number, and here they're giving me a word form number. That's interesting. So I'm just going to write length is equal to 5 feet. What is the perimeter of the floor of the doghouse? Ah, tricky. So they're not asking for the width, they're asking for the perimeter. So I have to make sure I know exactly what it is that I am looking for, because that is one way that you could be tricked with these area and perimeter questions. So I'm going to start drawing my rectangular shape, and I'm just going to label what I know so far. I know the area is 15 square feet. And I know that the length is 5 feet. And there was an ant crawling on my paper just now because I am doing this work on my rug. So to find the perimeter, I know I'm going to have to find the width. We know the length is 5 feet, and I know that in a rectangle, opposite sides are the same. So that's 5 feet. This is also 5 feet. And when I find the width, I'll be able to know both of these here, both of these sides. And then for perimeter, another thing that I know is that I have to add up all the sides. Side plus side plus side plus side. Alright guys, meet me again tomorrow so we can go over this work.